This is the 1 chord. This is the 1 chord in second inversion. In Roman numeral analysis, we would label it as the 1-6-4 because this note is a sixth above the bass note, and this note is a fourth above the bass note. So, of course the chord exists. Perhaps the better question to ask is, does the chord functionally exist? In common practice harmony, the 1-6-4 chord is most often seen as a member of the authentic cadence. More specifically, it precedes the 5-7 chord, which gives us this progression. However, in Roman numeral analysis, the label is supposed to tell us both function and spelling of any given chord. But while the spelling is correct, if we saw a 1-6-4 chord, we would in fact think a 1 chord in second inversion. The label 1-6-4 would also imply a tonic function, which it doesn't really play here. It sounds more like a dominant function, and this is reinforced by the 5th scale degree in the bass. Since this chord is playing a dominant function in this context, some theorists have actually suggested that it should be labeled 5-6-4. While that may be more accurate in terms of function, it's a bit problematic in terms of spelling. A 5-6-4 chord in the key of C would be D, G, and B, a second inversion G chord, not G, C, and E, a second inversion 1 chord. So again, labeling this chord a 5-6-4 chord may be more accurate in terms of function, but it's at the very least confusing in terms of spelling. So what do we do with this chord then? One possible relabeling is a double suspension of sorts. If we were to understand the 1-6-4 chord and the 5-7 chord as two parts of one idea, and the upper two voices being dissonances, we could rewrite the label as 6-4 to 5-3. This would show the leading of both voices and that both voices are a function of the dominant chord. Although it might perhaps be more accurate from a spelling perspective to label these upper notes 11 and 13, this would show how those upper voices are related to the 5 chord and not just to the bass note. This label would be some sort of interesting combination of both jazz and classical notations, but it could work. Or some theorists have suggested calling it a cadential 6-4, or CAD 6-4 for short. This has some potential. It shows both function and spelling. It still lets us know that it's a second inversion chord, but it tells us the function, which is to set up the cadence. One potential drawback to this label is that it could create confusion with the chord C, especially since in jazz notation we could have a label such as C add sharp 11, for example, which is why some have proposed to use the German and label it K6-4. Of course, it's also possible that this chord is so obsolete in a modern context that it really isn't in our best interest to update its nomenclature. Besides, the odds of getting every music theorist on the same page about anything are pretty slim. So, in conclusion, go on labeling this chord however you would like. Call it the Higgs boson chord if you want. Just know that the 1-6-4 chord looks like a tonic chord, but it plays a dominant function. Therefore, the 1-6-4 chord does not functionally exist. And then ask yourself, do any of us really functionally exist either? Thanks for watching this episode of 2-Minute Music Theory. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss an episode. Also be sure to check out my other channel, Jesse Strickland Music, which is home to all of my compositions. And if you're the kind of person who uses social media, be sure to connect with me over there.